Itty, thank you. And thank you for inviting me to be a part of this wonderful collection of women and learning. I already feel my core is in shape. I'm going to make beet salad. I'm very excited. And I'm going to think about how I'm writing. There's so much to learn aside from from the spiritual angle here. It's a pleasure to be with you. And you know, one of the things I've been thinking about lately before I start my official remarks is how we can offer each other conversational hugs. And I just want to remind all of us, and I think you all know, that when particularly women get together and we have this tend and befriend experience, there's a release of oxytocin, and this is kind of the cuddle or love hormone. And I am a firm believer that even with the screen and even with the distance, the physical distance, not the social distance, we are creating a social connection, even though we are apart from one another. And I really just want to remind all of us that this is such an important part of self-compassion, which is really what I'm going to be speaking about. And when we take care of ourselves, we fill our own reservoir, and we can then help take care of the people who are around us, not just in a caregiving role, but in a deep connecting role, so that we can kind of give each other a conversational hug. And I just want to thank you again for including me. And today I'm really going to talk about 7 components. You asked about the books, and I'll speak about them later, but my most recent books, one is called The Kindness Advantage, and the one before that was called Sanity Savers, Tips for Women to Live a Balanced Life. And for today, I kind of merged them. And so I'll talk about 7 Sanity Savers, and I'll weave kindness in, and it's kindness to ourselves, and then kindness to others. And, you know, kind of why kindness? So we want to think about ourselves. That's the first thing, the self. Our mind, our body, our spirit, our attitude. I loved the exercises and nutritious eating and all that we're talking about, because when we do this, we are taking care of ourselves. We are taking care of, or making a decision, we're making a choice that how am I going to literally feed myself, feed my soul? How are we taking time for prayer and meditation and our spiritual life? Is it rote, or is it really intentional? Particularly now during this time of COVID-19, when we have some worry, we have some concern, we have some sadness, we have whatever we have an emotional response that we mustn't ignore. And when we don't ignore it, we can recognize it, we can pay attention to it, and we can bring it to our awareness and deal with it. Because if we don't, those around us are going to kind of be collateral damage, because if we don't pay attention, we'll be responding perhaps irritably, impatiently, saying things that we might want to take back. And of course, we know we can't take them back, but really thinking about what it is we want to say to ourselves and to others. So when we're thinking about ourselves, we're also thinking about, is what I'm doing healthy for me? Is what I'm saying healthy for my relationship? Is there another way that I might be able to show this person that I'm disappointed or upset, but not in a way that will annihilate him or her? Is there a way that I can think of a kind way? What is the kind thing to do at this time? The kind thing for myself and the kind thing for this person. Am I laughing? Am I enjoying moments? With all that's going on, one of the best stress busters is laughter, because it really changes our brain chemistry, as does kindness. Kindness releases endorphins, and these are the feel-good chemicals. And when we do a kind act, even when we think about doing a kind act, but particularly when we do a kind act to ourselves, for ourselves, and for others, we have this release of the chemicals that really are the feel-good chemicals. What's interesting is it also encourages us to want to do another kind act for ourselves or someone else. So we are engaging, and we are engaging meaningfully. Well, it kind of doesn't stop there. You know, everybody's talking about the virus being contagious. Kindness is contagious. Kindness is contagious. So when we do a kind act, not only do we want to do more, but the recipient of the kind act also has a flood of endorphins, and that person wants to do a kind act for someone else. And it doesn't stop there. If you witness a kind act, if you see someone doing something, if you read about someone inspirational who did something that really makes you feel it, that you, wow, they did that, something heroic, you also get what we refer to as moral elation. Again, a release of chemicals in your brain, in your body that change your chemistry. So there's a lot of science behind this. That's not today's purpose of today's talk. But truly, anecdotally, we all know we feel better when we do something that's kind. But there is science, and it makes us feel better. It's related to improved heart health. Kind acts and what happens are related to improved mood. There's a lot of science. So after we think about ourselves, we think about support. And again, we are all here today supporting one another as we support ourselves in our own personal growth and learning. But what are we doing to support the relationships that we're in, even in a time when it's really hard, when we're living in close quarters, when few of us have opportunities to really get out when we want to? What are we doing about our space? Are we, which is the next point, surroundings, are we trying to create peaceful spaces and places within the confines of our home? Are we decluttering? Are we, and I know there's another speaker's, obviously that's her forte, but what does it do? It helps us to feel more space internally. When we feel that we have space internally, we can breathe. And breathing is a very important element of creating peace in your environment, because our emotions are contagious also. You know what it's like to walk into a room when everybody's laughing or feeling gay and feeling happy. And you also know what it's like to walk into a room when people are dour and upset. You feel their energy and it affects us. So we want to be mindful, cognizant, aware of what's going on within us. We can't control what's going on in anybody else, but we can take our own pulse, so to speak, and see how are we doing in this interaction? What are we bringing into the space? Stimulation is the fourth S, and it's really, really important that we keep ourselves curious, that we learn, that we are engaged, and that we think about our own way of thinking. You know, I've always done it this way. This is the way I think about this, and that's that. In this time of COVID particularly, when everything's changing, we need to be adaptable, we need to be flexible, and we may need to really reconsider the way we think about things. Well, I've done it this way for 50 years. May not work right now. So who do we look towards? Are we a role model for others, and how are we looking to role models to learn perhaps a different approach? Oh, I could never do that. I'm not like her. We kind of are. We can change in ways that can be really useful for us, and then will enhance our relationships. Do you know that we can learn to be resilient? It's also like the kindness muscle. We can learn to be patient. We can learn to be focused. These are all things that we can teach ourselves with practice and intention. So the fifth one is simplicity. Tone it down, pare it down, go to the essence. One of the things that I'm learning from so many people I'm talking to at this time is, wow, I thought I needed all these extra things. I needed to do this, I needed to have that. And now we're understanding the essence that's really important. It may come from our faith. It may come from having more time to just be connected with Hashem, with our partners, with our children, where we're not rushing. We're not pushing, we're listening. We're simplifying our life, and we're simplifying what we do in our time, and we're simplifying how we engage in nature. We're taking time, we're looking at things. With the recipe, I was smelling this, I was actually feeling that I could smell the herbs. And we want to take the time to activate all of our five senses and engage the people we love, so that we are sharing experiences that bring us joy. And this is a way to engage others and to help others to see something that they may not be able to see at this moment. We also savor, which is very related to simplicity, because you savor this moment. The graphology conversation was so interesting because, you know, if we're writing to one margin, we're looking to the past. If we're writing to another margin, we're looking to the future. In this moment, What are we able to savor? At this moment, it's the only one we have. So what can we bring to it? And then, of course, sustainability. What can we do every single day, that will give us a sense that we can connect within ourselves in a more fluent and authentic way, and then connect with the people in our life that we love? And the people who are on the periphery, when we have a conversation with someone, is it, okay, how you doing, just checking in? Or, you know, I have to tell you something. When I was thinking about this trip we took, and I learned this from you, when we were on that trip and we were so frightened because we were concerned about the hurricane, you really were very steady. And I'm learning to be steady at a time of disconnection. Tell someone in your life what they did for you. Tell someone in your life, your children, your spouse, your mother, your sister, anyone, your friends, what it is you learn from them, what it is you admire about them, and do the same for yourself. When our voices, our inner voices, are critical, when they are really most importantly critical, pay attention. Say, that's not helpful for me right now. What do I need to hear? Treat yourself as if you are your best friend. Treat yourself as if you are, when you're scared, comfort yourself as if you're comforting one of your scared children, and allow that to be the way we have compassion for ourselves. I want to thank you for this time. If you would like to share anything with me, I'm available. Go to my website. The book, yeah, I know it used to be very sweet. You asked me to mention my book. The last one, this is the one I wrote with my niece, who is a social worker. Her name is Amanda Salzauer, and it's called The Kindness Advantage. And this I wrote with a wonderful, wonderful woman, and she is an attorney. And this one is called Sanity Savers, Tips for Women to Live a Balanced Life. This is not an easy time. We need to recognize it. We need to find the silver linings. And when we find the silver linings, without negating the difficult moments, we will find a balance. And the balance is always changing. So I wish this wonderful community health and wellness and calm and gentleness with ourselves, so we can be gentle and tender with the people in our lives. At this moment in time, we need tenderness and we need kindness. So thank you for your time. And Itzi, thank you for reaching out to me. And Hinda, thank you for reaching out to me. It's, it's lovely.